Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Airwalk, and I run a school called the Ivy League Psychic Academy, where I train people internationally, online, and everything ranging from psychic mediumship development to Reiki, astrology, numerology, tarot, children as well as adults. You name it, we do it. What I wanted to talk about here tonight is my upcoming Psychic Mediumship course that begins on February 16th. A lot of people have questions. Well, what does this entail? So I want to break down what it is and take your questions about that course if you've been debating on registering. Now, the first thing I want to explain is this. We have two pathways to learning with the Psychic Mediumship course. Pathway number one is about the curriculum itself. So you're going to receive a video download of the curriculum. It is going to explain what we're doing in the course, but you're not necessarily going to be as hands-on as you would be with Pathway 2 because it does not entail direct training for you on how to give a reading, on how to actually apply the things that you're learning. So it's really just a basic set of information on what psychic, mediumistic, empathic abilities are and how we can use them. It does not come with a certification, and you are not eligible after you graduate to work the monthly walk-in night psychic fairs that we do online or any of the hired paid events. People hire Ivy League psychic fairs. They're, if you have a company, you run a business, you want to have a private party, you want to have a huge event, people will come to me and say, I need, 2 tarot readers, 4 psychic mediums, I need a Reiki practitioner, an astrologer, whatever. I want to put on this event, and they hire Ivy League psychic fairs. So we travel all the time with these. But if you took Pathway 1, you will not be eligible for any of that. Okay, but you will get all the information. Now, Pathway 2 is everything we already spoke about, plus you work directly with assistant teachers. I work directly with you, making sure that you're giving readings properly. You get trained in how to give a 30-minute professional reading for the public, and if you are certified through the program, you are eligible to do the monthly walk-in nights that we do online and all of those, paid gigs. We do have if you decide to be a Pathway 2, where you're actually training in how to give the readings, we have an ongoing group message where we're in constant discussion about what we're learning, and we sometimes have additional homework assignments there or an opportunity for extra study there. You also, with Pathway 2, you start working with a system that I set up about 9 years ago called the guinea pig system. The guinea pig system is where we have people who are willing to come and allow you to practice on them, because it's really impossible, first of all, to learn these skills in a vacuum. It's also pretty impossible to learn them dealing with family and friends, people that you already know. Those are not the people you should be learning on, okay, for a couple key reasons. First of all, you're going to be going left brain. You're going to be overly logical. You're also going to wonder all the time if it's really your intuition or if it's your imagination. And you tend to be overly opinionated. We have judgments, accidentally even, opinions, on those that are in our inner circle. We basically know too much. We also find that people that reading them is not a great assessment on how well you're doing, because they tend to either be overly critical or excessively kind. And so there's a lack of honesty there that we really need. It's easiest when you read people you don't know. So we have the guinea pig system in Pathway 2. And we start reading the very first class. So straight out of the gate, the very end of the first class, you start giving readings. And this is where a lot of people say, well, how do I know I'll be able to do it? Can you guarantee? Well, I can't guarantee that you're going to put in the effort. You have your free will. I can't guarantee that you're going to follow the method or the curriculum. No, I can't guarantee that. I can guarantee you'll be given every tool that you would ever need to be able to go out there and professionally do this if you apply yourself. What we have seen over the years is that people come in skeptical even that a lot of this exists at all, but definitely skeptical that they would be able to do it. And that does not become a hindrance at any time. So skepticism is welcome. I use it every day in every area of this field. We also see that there are a lot of people who are afraid and have been trained, you know, to be blocked with their energies over the years, whether it be the religion that they were raised on that said that this was demonic, you know, or from negative and dark, or this be the medical and scientific, you know, community that says that this is a sign of a mental illness, or this is their parents that say that this is, you know, bad and embarrassing and you shouldn't be entertaining it. Whatever it is that has taken your natural intuitive abilities and sort of squelched them on out of you. We have people who come in here all the time who say, I really don't think I can reconnect like I was when I was a kid. You know, or something's going on with me. It looks like I have all these disorders, depressive and anxiety and otherwise, and ADHD-like symptoms that I don't know what's going on with me, but I think it's connected to my intuition. A lot of people just don't believe that they could properly utilize the language that's being taught and be able to heal themselves or to heal others and ultimately give readings. But it is extremely doable. This is broken down into such an easy system that I've had all walks, all ages, all, you know, genders come through, and everyone is capable of doing this. I would recommend, and before I get into what the curriculum entails, I would recommend that people are at least 12 years old before they start taking it. Not that we shouldn't train earlier than that. I started training my kids at 3 years old, and we do have classes for children as young as 5 and 6 here at the Academy up on the website. For a full list of classes, Paul can put the website link here in the comments. That's ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com. The thing is, to be able to really sit through the entire program, most people do need to be around 11, 12 years old and fairly mature. But it's simple layman's terms, so it's open to anybody. We do have a pay-as-you-go program, so you don't have to purchase the entire program up front if you don't want to do that. And that's nice to hear at a time like COVID and, you know, insecurities going on with our finances. So you could pay week to week and as you go. And there's literally a program for everybody. So if you do decide to do Pathway 2, where you want to learn to give the readings, but you can't be in attendance for the classes, you can get the video download and then just join us through the group message when you can. And that's perfectly acceptable too. So you'll do the homework assignments and the readings on a little bit of a different schedule than what a lot of your online classmates will be doing, but that's fine too. Okay.
The classes cost. Is 50 and Pathway 2 is 80.
Okay. So 50 and 80. Pathway 1 50, Pathway 2 80. And again, you can pay as you go along. You don't have to pay all up front. And for those of you that want more information on like when and how long the classes are, because they're about 2 hours a piece approximately, you can go to the ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com website and just click on the Psychic Mediumship, and it'll show you all of this information so you have it to read through later. Okay, so I want to talk about this curriculum and why it's different. So the training method that I use with my students is called the PSC Method, the Psychology of Spirit Communication Method. Not just based on the study of spirit communication, but also psychic ability and empathic ability. So for those of you who've been following me for a while, you know possibly that I do something called Empathic Awareness training, and I've been bringing this into universities and school systems. I work with therapists and teachers. We have teacher credits available. Empathic ability is a huge part of what goes on here in the PSC method. So is psychic ability, and so is mediumship. So how is this method different than traditional methods that are still being taught internationally today? First of all, the cost here is a fraction, okay? Less than a fraction of the price. It is also done in a fraction of the time. So typical trainings range anywhere from 7,000 up. A lot of them take 2 to 5 plus years. The average is about 5 years of our training. 2 semesters, which equals
28 weeks.
28 weeks. Okay, so that's the first thing. Also, this isn't full of fluff. So I'm not going to have you sitting and meditating. There's no meditation involved in this training, which means you're not going to be sitting passively hoping to receive a message. And then when you receive that message, you really don't know how to use it, how to translate it, how to apply it. There is none of that here. I get directly into the language itself, the lost language. Now, whether other trainings don't know the language or they're just sort of keeping it a secret is up for debate, depending on the circumstance. However, it's not coming out. So in other trainings, you're not going to actually learn what the language is. And that is a combination of using symbology, sort of like dream symbology. What do all these symbols mean in conjunction with your own physical symbology and other things like astrology, numerology, but also the use of the clairs. So a lot of you have probably heard of the clairs: clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairaudience, Augustine, all of those. So what is different about this training program too is also that what we understand here is that it's useless to understand the clairs unless you have a match in communication with the spirit that you're trying to connect with, all right? Or a match with the human being that you're trying to connect with, the living people as well. Or even an animal, if you're trying to give a reading on an animal, which we do here. We have to create a match in that particular part of the language, or else it's lost. Knowledge of the thing itself is not enough. We have to actually be able to translate the messages over, and that requires an in-depth understanding of the language itself. It's sort of like saying that, love is not enough in your marriage, or that, communication is not enough. We have to have another human being who can actually understand what it is that we're saying and then apply it. So that's sort of the foundation of what we do here. So, first thing, again, there's no meditation. I don't have you sitting there endlessly just waiting to receive something passively. Meditation is something that you should be doing on your own time for self-development, to better connect with your guides, with your ancestors, and things like that. But it is not a required part of the curriculum because it does not help you in being able to actually give a reading whatsoever. What we do is a focus on the right side of the brain. So you'll be essentially shifting from the left logical side of your brain to the right side of your brain. That does not require meditation. I would also say that meditation is really almost at this point abused by a lot of systems out there that keep dragging you further and further out at sea. So if you ever went into a program, you realized that you were meditating a lot, and then you ended up with issues, depression, anxiety, night terrors, paranormal problems. It's because they're taking you so far out and they're not really directing you at all, and they just sort of left you out there and abandoned you. We don't want to get into deeper states of meditation than what we're ready for, okay? So that's another unique thing about this training, is that I'm helping you to deal with your abilities where you are. That means if you do have disorders because of your intuitive intelligence, we want to get that in check before we open up Pandora's box anymore. So it's about you being healthy. It's about you being in control and ownership of your own energy, you being mindful, and then being able to give that out to others. Right. We also focus on the 3 abilities here. So a lot of trainings out there either focus on psychic abilities or mediumistic abilities, sometimes empathic abilities, and that's not really going to make for a great powerful reading. If you want to be a reader, you really need to be working and understanding completely psychic, mediumistic, and empathic abilities. So we do that here, but this program is also designed for those that are just wanting to come in for self-development. So you don't have to do any of this. This program is also designed for those that just want to get in touch with their deceased loved ones and ancestors and their guides. You don't have to do any of this. It's blanketed for everyone. The other major difference here is that we study all spirits. So we aren't just talking to the deceased. It can be a really beautiful experience to go get a reading where a medium channels, your grandma and your cat, or like your deceased parent or something. But it really tends to fall short the majority of the time, which means that those messages are kind of vague. They're not always really adapted to talk about what's going on in your actual life. It's more like them showing up to say that they love you and they're supporting you. And while that's very nice, we want to have more depth in our reading and our messaging system here. And we know that spirit is actively trying to get involved in that process. So we not only communicate with the deceased on a deeper level, we also work with guides, angels, higher up spirits in the universe, as well as animals. And we deal with living humans, we would say energetically, through things like telepathy and clear empathy. And that's very different from traditional trainings that are out there. Okay, we do all of this through education and research that I've been doing since I was a child on this. Also, scientific research, medical research, and then a series of exercises. Spirit has shown me this entire curriculum from, A to Z over the years, and it is now a complete system, including these exercises that have been able to take even the non-believer and trigger them if they get involved, to sort of open up to different abilities. And we take great responsibility and care with that, knowing that once we open up to an ability, we can't reverse it. We can't put it back in the box. Once you open Pandora's box, you need to utilize it and move forward with it intelligently and responsibly. So accountability and self-control is a huge part of the curriculum here, which means we are raising up genuine light workers at all time. Okay, so our motto here at the Ivy League Psychic Academy is raising up the next generation of light workers. So those that come in with dark, toxic energy or are doing this for the wrong reasons, they want to just make a quick buck. They want to be able to sort of manipulate people and learn how to make it seem as though they're doing mediumship. Those students are always... what's the word I'm looking for? Relieved of their duty here to the Academy, and we are looking for genuine light workers at all time to be the highest, purest channels for the healing messages that are coming from the light, which also means we don't dabble in paranormal work. We do criminal investigations, missing persons, paranormal cleansings, and things of the darker note, but only to bring healing, not to toy with at any time. Okay, so if any of this is sounding like something you guys have been interested in, but you're still not sure about what abilities you have, I would recommend that you tune in for that Are You a Psychic, a Medium, or an Empath class, where I'll be telling you what your abilities are. That's going to be Thursday, February 4th. Okay.
I said she had taken a $2,000 course. It was a total ripoff, and she learned nothing. But she wants to learn and is very interested in our course. And I would recommend it, obviously, but it's like no other, and it's really hands-on, and you get what you put into it. It's amazing. Ivy developed an amazing class, and when she had mentioned non-believers, that's where I came in. I thought this was all nonsense.
Right.
I got a reading. It opened up the door, and then a couple weeks later, I was in class. And you give a reading in your first class, and I could not believe what happened, and it's all been amazing since then. So, Kimmy, yes, highly recommend this.
Well, it's just, it's one of those things where the reason I train everybody the way that I do, yes, Spirit showed me exactly how this training was supposed to go, and I've never strayed from that. But also, that's what happened to me personally. So if any of you have ever watched a video on YouTube or whatever, or on my bio, I talk about a medium coming up to me when I was in the grocery store when I was 15 and basically telling me that I had these abilities, and I did not know that I did. So Paul's example here of being one of those students who came in thinking, I can't do this, and then gave an actual reading on the first day, is based on my own personal experience and analysis on how the heck you could be able to do this and not know it for, 20, 30, 40 years. How is it possible we could do this? It's because we've been tuned out to it, blocked up by societal standards, and we've gotten out of touch. And for those of you who are told, no, this is a gift, only special people have that, I'm sixth generation medium and you can't possibly have those abilities. They literally don't know what they're talking about, or they just want to make extra cash off of being up on that pedestal. You also have people who tell you if you're an empath, that's not connected to psychic and mediumistic ability. Actually, the major research that was originally done on empathic ability was based on psychics. They thought it was something psychics had. And so they also don't know what they're talking about. Yes, it is. If you have empathic ability, you have mediumistic abilities to a heightened degree, you have psychic abilities to a heightened degree, and you're an empathic healer on top of that. So it is really important that you get in here for the training, not just to necessarily, learn how to give it out to others, but just to maintain your own self, because that is a new level of intuition there. In regards to what Kimmy said here too about, being ripped off with the $2,000 training, that's actually light. So it's a good thing you didn't sign up for one of those 5-year programs that are like, oh my God, I'm amazed. And at how many people end up here. Everybody ends up here eventually, because even if they did receive something from other trainings, they tend to feel that there are huge gaps left, not only in the communication with spirit on the other side, but also in their own understanding about what the heck is going on. And so they ultimately feel that they can't really give the full amount of healing that they should be capable of giving to others in their practice if they don't fill those gaps.
It's funny, I've looked at other trainings and they talk about things like magic, and it's
the magical trainings.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't talk about things like magic or like, witchcraft or spells or anything like that here. We don't use crystals and stones and tools. Literally, it will be you sitting in a chair getting educated on the language. That's what it is. And it's based on energy, science, psychology, physical impressions, the clairs, all of that.
But do you suggest taking your other offered classes prior to taking the whole pathway?
The other classes that are up on the website are typically part of the curriculum. So not really. Not that you shouldn't, but what happens when you get back into class is that you have to take them again anyways. Now, that's not everything that's up on the website. If you go onto the Ivy League website and you look down through everything, the classes that are going to be included in your curriculum are relationships, boundaries, and cord cutting, karma contracts and past lives, hauntings, clearings, and detachments, empathic awareness, coffee with your angels, meet your guides, and dreams. So, you've got 2 semesters of classes, and then those are what we call open to the public classes that are going to be required. So if you take it now, that's great. You get a jump start, but you will need to take it again.
She says she's a believer and would love to learn how to use her abilities. How do I join?
You just go right to the website. So you can go to Ivy Rivera, psychicmedium.com, click on the Ivy League button, and the Ivy League Psychic Academy button will take you right to the list of classes. Click on Psychic Mediumship and get yourself registered for either Pathway 1 or Pathway 2. Be careful what you select there. And that's it. Then you're registered and your seat is reserved. And Pathway 2 does have limited seating. I think at this point we have, 5 open seats. We've been filling up really quickly. And the reason I can't accept more than that is because I do work with you guys hands-on, and I do only have so many assistant teachers working for the academy to work with you guys. I don't want anything slipping through the cracks. So if you can't register fast enough to get in with Pathway 2, we'll probably be doing another class maybe in probably the fall or winter of 2021.
Believes to have empathic abilities and other abilities and is looking to get a handle on them. So which would be the better pathway option?
I would say 2, because Pathway 2 allows for you to have that hands-on practice and work alongside other students as well as assistant teachers and myself. So what happens when you try to sort of learn this in a vacuum is that it leaves you feeling just kind of deserted. It may not fully click for you, a little detached. It's great to have the information, but when you are to the point where you are with your empathic abilities, that level of intuition, you really need to start actually working with it. So if you want to get your hands dirty and learn how to apply it to yourself, you're going to want those exercises. And that's just not really part of Pathway 1. All right, wonderful. So I hope to see you guys for class. If you are debating on what it is that you should do next, maybe you want to check out a class before you register or something like that, you might want to check out Empathic Awareness. That would be week 2 of your required curriculum. And that's at ivyrivera.empathiceducator.com. You may also want to check out a class up on the Ivy League Psychic Academy website called Meet Your Guides. That's one of our foundational classes, and even though you take it now, it will not be lost. It is a huge part of what we do, and part of the PSC method is working with what we call the guided method. So you're going to need that regardless, but those are great places to start. I also have a ton of free ones. For those of you that are not up on my YouTube, go over here to YouTube at Ask Ivy and check out the list of free mini classes on the playlist. I've been putting up one per week for the quarantine series. And the next one that we have coming up, again, is Stop Overgiving Without the Guilt. And that's going to be the 19th at 8 p.m. Also, you guys tune in for our Sunday church service here at 8 p.m. For Roots Revival Interfaith. We hope to see you there in just a little bit. Thank you, Polly.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Spirit. Thanks, everybody.